Got a question from Bob. My question are about standards. Do you have standards for a 65-year-old male? Are they standards that are written down somewhere? What level of fitness do you associate with the standard? 80th percentile. I'm a big fan of the 80-20 rule. So if I can be as strong as 80% of the 65-year-old male population, I'd be happy. Well, listen, Bob, we got people in the inner circle who are in our age cohort. I'm in your age cohort. And if you're strong as me, I can almost guarantee you're in that 20% of the population. I teach, I teach and help out at the senior center. And the biggest pushback I get from when I'm helping people is, and I've said this on the podcast before, the 55-year-olds. Everything I do is too hard. And it's funny because I'm 67 and I'm older than they are, and yet they haven't done a lot in 30, 40 years. And these workouts, as easy as I think they are, sort of roast them. I don't have standards for 65-year-old males, but if you go to the Russian kettlebell certification, the RKC, they've got some good numbers there. I don't have the numbers available to me right now. I have them on some forms, but I went through all of them and I put them down as masters. But I think at your age, I think you're supposed to be able to snatch the 20 kilo bell 50 times in 3 minutes. Now, I can still pass the open test. That's the 24K, 5 minutes, 100 reps. And well, because I kind of have to, because when I go into TC certs, I got to be able to do almost everything. But so go to Dragon Door and look up their the numbers they have to qualify as an RKC. Top of my head, I think that if you're in your 60s as a typical 65-year-old male, being able to single hand press a 20, which is 45 pounds, the weight of a barbell, would be a good standard. To be able to, goblet squat a 20 kilo bell with some respectable technique and maybe 5 to 10 reps. If you Google my name, you know what? These are all available at danjohnuniversity.com. But if you Google my name, I think it's called Dan John Sleepless in Seattle, because I couldn't. I don't know why. I took Paul Lysingo's numbers. I took my numbers. I took some others. In the new book that is going to be out shortly, I also have the same set of numbers. And then I also have Harry Pascal's numbers, which I was just looking at today. And he considers a moderate or strong man to be able to clean and press 165, snatch 165, 75 kilos for my friends and neighbors all across the world outside of America. I think the deadlift is 350, which is 155 kilos. And the other numbers are all pretty reasonable too. It's like the squat number is quite low. But what I like about people like Harry Pascal, who wrote this in the early 1950s, is the numbers are reasonable. And I always like that. So at your age, Bob, I would say if you can do the 50 snatches in 3 minutes with the 20, you can press the 20 with both hands, you can gobble squat the 20 kilo bell, I'm going to tell you, you're doing okay. AARP magazine had a recent edition. Laird Hamilton is on the cover, and his wife, Gabriella Reese. I was going to say Reese, but Gabriella Reese are on the cover. And they do have some numbers there, a flexibility numbers, a stand on 1 foot number, and I think those are all just fine. Generally, I use the numbers from the Nordic countries when they report this kind of thing. I have the books are upstairs in my big living room, but that's something I've really, really enjoyed. One of the big numbers I want you to think about, Bob, is your waistline. I would really like it if your waistline was under 37 inches. That's some of the new research that's coming up, is that I've always used the half your height number, and now insert joke. My problem is I need to be taller, but I've used half your height number my whole career. But now some of the research from the Scandinavian Nordic countries is that, yeah, get yourself under 37 inches. So 36, no matter what your height is, 36, 35, and the risks of issues is much, much lower. So I gave you a couple numbers, waistline, some lifting numbers. Honestly, I'm going to tell you now the answer. And I tell my inner circle this, okay? So Earl Nightingale always talks about, to lead the field, you got to get in the top 5% of anything you do. And I always tell people that is so easy to do. I think I'm in the top 5% of everything I've ever tried. Only because, well, for one thing, I try to find the number. For books, if you sell 10,000 copies of a book, you're in the top 5% of authors of all time. 10,000. Never Let Go, which was mentioned above. I sold 17,000 in one weekend, so yeah, that's pretty good. As a discus thrower, I don't think there's any question I'm in the top 5% of all time. Lifting, I think I'm in the top 5% of all time. So many little things. But here's the one I want you to listen to. Tom Plummer tells us at his workshops that only 14% of Americans have gym equipment or belong to a gym. When you talk to the people at the gyms, they'll tell you that very, very few people come in. So to be in the top 5% in exercise, 1 out of 20 people get to that level. 1 out of 20 people exercise regularly in America. 1 out of 20. I would say exercise at all be 1 out of 20. So, Bob, you're a 5%er just by exercising. Okay? So good for you. Now let's see if you can get those other standards, and then maybe down the line, you and me can come up with some more, okay? Thanks.